I actually like it. I love that.
All right. Thank you all so much for coming in this evening. Welcome to the Lexington Park Library. I'm Amy Ford. I'm the branch manager here at Lexington Park Library, and we're so pleased to see such a great turnout today. Housekeeping before we get started. As you leave these doors behind you and you turn to your left, you'll find some restrooms down that way. Should there be an emergency at any time, if you are on this side of the room, please leave to my right. If you're on this side of the room, please leave to my left. There are emergency doors there. If you're in the back, go straight out those doors and straight out the front doors. Okay. Now that we are all safe, thank you so much for coming in tonight. And the library would very much like to thank our partners, the League of Women Voters of St. Mary's County and the NAACP 7025, without whom we would not be able to put on this candidate forum this evening. So I'm going to turn it over to Katie Werner from the League of Women Voters. Thank you, Katie.
Welcome to the first of our 2026 primary election candidate forum. Before we get started, I ask that everyone either turn off or silent your cell phones and any other noise-making devices. And then I ask that everybody stand for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'm Katie Warner, the president of the League of Women Voters of St. Mary's County and your co-moderator. Alonzo Gaskin with the NAACP will be my co-moderator for the evening, and we are pleased to partner with the NAACP, the St. Mary's chapter, and the Lexington Park Library to bring you this forum. You can find more information about the League and NAACP at our information table, and we ask that you please consider joining each of our organizations. Before we begin, I want to tell you about vote411.org, which is the League's online voters guide. We hope you take advantage of the information available there. You can go to the website, put in your address, and find answers to questions each candidate was given. This year, vote411.org is more important than ever. The Congressional District 5 seat has 25 Democrats, 4 Republicans, and 4 other candidates on the ballot. Each candidate on the ballot is given a set of questions to answer, and the answers are all in one place at vote411.org, just as the candidate responded. In addition to coming to the forum, such as this one, it's the best way to learn about the candidates so you can make an educated decision on who to vote for. Important dates to remember: June 11th, early voting begins. There were 3 early voting sites: Bay District Firehouse, Hollywood Firehouse Main Building, and Mechanicsville Firehouse. Early voting ends on June 18th. June 23rd is Election Day, and the polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. October 22nd through the 29th is early voting for the general election, and the general election is on November 3rd. Mail-in voting. Due to an error in the printing process, some voters received the incorrect ballot for the primary election. This error affects only voters who were mailed ballots before May the 14th. All affected voters were mailed a replacement ballot beginning on May 22nd. Mailing was completed on May 27th, and ballots should be arriving between May 26th and the 31st. If you have any questions about this process, what you need to do is contact the Maryland State Board of Elections, 1-800-222-8683, or the St. Mary's County Board of Elections, 301-475-4200, extension 7164. You can also get some answers to your questions at the Maryland Board of Elections website. They have a specific page just for mail-in voting issue that came up this year. Drop boxes are located throughout the county, and ballots are collected once a day through the election. Now on to the form. If you wish to ask a question, please raise your hand. A runner will bring you an index card, and if you need one, a pencil or something to write with. Write your question briefly, legibly, please. Being certain that it's relevant to the candidate seeking the office that is at the table. At the top of the card, you can write the name of the individual you want to address the question, or if you wish to ask every candidate, write all. Follow-up questions can also be submitted on index cards. When you finish writing, you can hold up your card. A runner will collect and take it to our review panel. The review panel will examine each question to make sure it's legible, appropriate for the office the candidate is seeking, civil, and stated politely. And we ask that you please hold your applause until after all the candidates have asked their questions and made their closing remarks. Tonight, we will be addressing the candidates for the following general election primary races: House of Delegates, Legislative District 29C, Democrat, and County Commissioner, District 1, Democrat. The House of Delegates, Legislative District 29B, Democrat, has been canceled. We received an email from candidate Chris McDonald indicating that he was moving out of the county, ending his campaign, and would not be attending the forum. Since we cannot have a forum with just one candidate, it was canceled. Each candidate will begin with a 3-minute opening statement before we begin questions from the audience. Candidates will then have 1 minute to respond to each question asked. And when the question period is over, each candidate may make a 2-minute closing statement. Our timer, Caroline Trosbeck, has a computer timer and will signal the speaker with a yellow card at the 30-second mark, a red stop card when time is up. The speaker may finish a sentence, but nothing more. Remember, this is a respectful occasion. Please compose your questions in a civil manner and do not express your support or opposition for any candidates during the forum. And again, we ask you to hold your applause until the end of each section. So now I would ask the candidates for House of Delegates, District 29C, to come forward. And that's J.W. Abney and is it Sarah? Shara Watts. Candidates Mike Feckman and Eric Imler have indicated that they will not be attending tonight, but since there's more than one candidate, we are able to move forward. Okay, so we're going to ask each candidate to give their opening remark. Mr. Abney, would you like to start? Oh, okay. Yes.
Hi there, I'm Shara Watts and I'm running for state delegate for District 29C. Give my list, I had tongue cancer last year. I am a longtime resident of Southern Maryland. I live on the creek with my force of nature mother and a bevy of animals. I have more than 20 years of environmental litigation experience as a paralegal. I also have a master's in information technology management from Maryland. I currently work for my family business. Robert De Niro recently said, "I want my country back, and that's why I'm running." Did you know that the Calvert County Commissioners recently passed a policy outlawing free speech at park and recreation facilities? Not only that, but a major local HOA recently canceled a forum on data centers because it wasn't nonpartisan. Data centers are partisan? If they're so good, what are they hiding? Because of where we find ourselves, I'm running because I believe in democracy. I believe in civil rights for all, and above all else, I believe in our Bill of Rights. We've been hearing a lot about data centers, and what I'm most interested in is water use and conservation in general. My experience in environmental law working on Superfund cases taught me one thing. All the remediation in the world doesn't take care of the groundwater. A site I worked on in Indiana now has a cancer spike around it due to groundwater contamination, and there's nothing that they can do about it. But here, did you know that Calvert and St. Mary's counties share a water source? And at current usage, it's dropping 2 to 3 feet per year. The level will be critical by 2030. That's 5 years from now. So it's more than a bridge that unites us. It's a looming water crisis. We need regional planning focused on water conservation. We need leaders who understand our risks and will fight for what we, the people who actually live here, need. What we don't need is to be an industrial dumping ground. As a source of revenue, more industry is not the answer. While the LNG plant brings in 30 million in taxes a year, it uses over 230,000 gallons of water per day. That's per day, and that's current usage on our aquifer. That's water for 20,000 houses. When I'm elected, I will push for a statewide ban on construction of new data centers until we fully understand their environmental and social impacts. That includes canceling zoning approvals. Maine and 11 other states are trying similar bans. Let's join them. Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you, and I welcome your support.
Please hold your applause. Mr. Abney?
Thank you, everyone. Glad to be here with you all. My name is J.W. Abney, and I'm running for Delegate in District 29C with the young lady besides me. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, so Southern Maryland is now new to me. Well, at least it has been for the last 20 plus years. My wife and I, coming here, were often lost. We would end up in Virginia somehow and never make the turn. And eventually we ended up calling Southern Maryland home. And like I said, so far it's been working out pretty well. I'm a parent. I have 2 kids. I have one that's 29 and one that's 16. So I'm dealing with 2 different generations, a millennial and a Gen Z. So it's interesting. But that is also why I'm running, for their future. I want to live in a place that my 29-year-old and my 16-year-old can both call home and appreciate and love the way that I do, in the way that I did 20 years ago. In my opinion, not much has gotten better since I've been here. And that's the reason why I actually got into the race, to hopefully bring us all to a different place. I didn't just wake up one day and decide to do this. I, prayed on it and got some guidance, and that's what brought me here, and that's why I'm here. And although I'm at a Democratic forum, I'm not running specifically as a Democrat or looking at a Republican. At my core, I'm an idealist. I'm always looking to do whatever the next right thing is. So that's kind of what I base my life on. And from where I came from to where I'm at, there's a reason why I stayed here instead of staying where I was. And I think that we need someone here that is willing to put in the work to actually bring up change, that give us the opportunity to have intentional economic development, to find a way to give us attainable housing, and to actually have empathy and integrity. And those are the 2 things that I really base everything that I do on. And I'm looking for your support in this process. I need support, I need guidance, I need help, and ultimately I need people that want to make a change, and hopefully you're willing to make that change with me. And once again, J.W. Abney, and thank you for your time.
Candidate, Mr. Abney. How do you plan to work with neighboring counties to protect our water table and electricity costs due to data centers arriving in our area, or any tax breaks?
I think the first thing for me, and I guess I should say to those that are not aware, is I've been in IT for 25 years. So I've actually opened up 2 hyperscale data centers in Northern Virginia, one in Arlington, one in Fairfax. So I know firsthand what happens when you're actually putting in a data center into a community. For one, in no way will I support data centers in Southern Maryland. There is literally nothing that they bring to the area that benefits us in any way. If you know anything about the data center process, when they're put in, there's a huge amount of diesel fuel that is used, that is just carelessly dropped on the ground. There are generators that run 24/7. There are air cooling that runs 24/7, and then there's also water cooling that is running 24/7. So in no way do I support that, and that's how I would help is blocking that process from happening.
Ms. Watts?
Could you ask the question again, please?
How do you plan to work with neighboring counties to protect our water table and electricity costs due to data centers arriving in our area or any tax breaks?
The first thing is I'm totally against data centers. They are resource hogs as far as water and electricity goes. Maryland currently has 41 data centers. Virginia has 300, and they're all on our grid. We need to approach the addition of data centers in our lives on a regional basis. And I intend to do that. It's the only way that it's going to work. As I've said, we're on the same water source, so even if it happens in Charles County, it's going to affect us. And that's all.
Okay, the next question will start with Ms. Watts. For both candidates, individuals continue to attempt suicide on the Thomas Johnson Bridge. How will you address this issue if you were elected to office?
Well, as far as what I would be able to do as a delegate, I would recommend that they put up better fencing, but they've got the fencing up. Apparently, there's a lapse somewhere in our mental health system that we have people that are feeling that vulnerable. So I would look into making mental health resources more available to people that need them. That's all.
Mr. Abney?
I think that you would start with the problem of mental health. If someone is actually, getting to a bridge and jumping off or doing something along those lines, there's something wrong, whether it's their life or their circumstance. And I think that's one of the areas where we have to start young. I think it's completely a shame that the school system in St. Mary's County lost the workers that they had that were able to support our kids and via the social workers. So I think that we need to get more emphasis when people are younger, because if you have better mental health when you're younger, as you grow up, you're in a better place. And that way we can avoid situations like that happening. You can't have a road with just gates everywhere. You have to fix the problem. And I believe mental health is the problem that needs to be fixed.
This question is also for both candidates, and we'll start with Mr. Abney. Can you give examples of how you will not vote along with the Democrat majority in order to support your county?
Could you repeat the question again?
Can you give examples of how you will not vote along with the Democrat majority in order to support your county?
Well, I think that kind of goes to what I stated at the beginning about me being an idealist. So I look at everything as for what is the actual problem and what it is that we're trying to accomplish. So when I look at something, I'm not looking at it through the lens of what's going to be convenient for someone else. It's looking at the greater good and what's actually going to benefit. And that's what I'm going to make a decision based on. So as long as you stay based on facts and not feelings, you're able to make a decision that benefits whether it's St. Mary's or Calvert County. And at the end of the day, that's what I'm here for. It's not for about who's a Democrat or a boys club or a girls club. It is about these counties and what's going to benefit them.
Ms. Watts?
I am my own person, and I am running as my own person. I feel that for the most part, I am a Democrat and would follow whatever line is drawn within reason. I'm against data centers. I'm against ICE cooperation, and I'm seeing issues like that as issues that I differ on. I'm me, and I'm going to do my best.
And this is for all the candidates, and we're going to start with Ms. Watts. What are your strategies to ensure there is affordable housing for young professionals in the county, especially for those in the public sector, service, or healthcare?
The biggest issue with building affordable housing is that the main strategy is often increasing density. And in the case of our counties, increasing density is really not the best idea because we're looking at a looming water shortage. Until there is some sort of plan in place regionally for alternative water sources, I don't think it's time to talk about affordable housing for anybody.
Mr. Happy?
Could you repeat the question for me, please?
What are your strategies to ensure there is affordable housing for young professionals in the county, especially for those in the public sector, service, or healthcare?
I think the strategy has to be figuring out a way to make housing attainable. On top of me being in IT, I'm also a realtor, and I'm dealing with people that remind me and my wife 20 years ago, that are in some cases, one of my clients, one person works on base, and then there's another person that works locally, at the hospital, and I'm going out showing them homes, and they're unable to find a home that is in their price range. And that's a shame that when I came here in 2005, making the same money they were making, I was able to buy a house, and now they can't. And that's a way, we have to find a way in order to make it so that people like them are able to afford to live here. So I think part of that process is going to be looking at our tax structures, the building permits, especially our excise tax. That's where a lot of the extra cost comes from with building in particular.
The next question is for both candidates, and we'll start with Mr. Abney. What is one specific example of an action that another municipality or state has implemented that you intend to bring to the county or state if elected?
I think the one that I would start with is one that is potentially coming down the pike to us, which is the accessory dwelling units. That's something that has been a savior in some ways for California, because you're able to take unused space and actually utilize that to benefit more people. There's a lot of people here that now have multi-generational living, where you may have your grandparents, or in my case, your millennial daughter that won't leave. But that's a way that you can have a space for them that is their own, give them a sense of independence, but still have them in your property. And I think that if we're able to do something like that, that would benefit us. So that's one thing that I would say.
Ms. Watts?
We need to look for other revenue sources, and looking at how other jurisdictions are doing it is the way to start. Very simply, a plastic bag tax, like Montgomery County, would be one way of bringing in revenue. Another would be an increase in sales tax, not as high as somewhere like New York, but 1 to 2% in order to spread the burden a little bit more equitably across the population. Baltimore County has Baltimore County is a sanctuary city, a sanctuary jurisdiction, and I would encourage that in our jurisdiction as well.
This is another question for all the candidates. We'll start with Ms. Watts. On July 1st, the Maryland gas tax is set to increase again. This is built into law. Would you be in support of changing the law so that the tax does not automatically increase based on the consumer price index?
I'm a believer in making adjustments for hardship, but by the same token, we need to finance our roads and our bridges. I would say no.
Mr. Abney?
Could you repeat the question for me, please?
On July 1st, the Maryland gas tax is set to increase again. This is built into law. Would you be in support of changing the law so that the tax does not automatically increase based on the consumer price index?
Yes, I would support not automatically increasing. I think that when we get to the place of just automatically doing things without any context, it puts us in a bad position. At every point, we need to evaluate what we're doing and why we're doing it, and not just do it because it's time to do it. And in my case, I also think that we need to spend more time on renewable energy. I myself have been driving an EV for the last 7 years, and I think that we need to find a way to get more people to drive EVs and not rely on gas, because there is a savings to both your pocket and to the world that we live in.
Another one for all the candidates. We'll start with Mr. Abney. Delegates play a role in Annapolis to bring resources to the counties from the state. How would you, as a Democrat, have the ability to gain resources for us?
I think the way to do that is to, for one, be voted in, and that's what I need the people in this room to help me with. So if we could get started there, that would be a great help. And then after that, once you actually get to Annapolis, it's about finding the people that you can talk with about the issues that you have and figure out a way to find a commonality to see what can get done to benefit everyone. So I think that's really the main thing, is finding that commonality, because at the end of the day, we are all the same. We are much more the same than we are different. You just have to find what that commonality is, and once you find it, you can get an allegiance and then go from there.
Ms. Watts?
Part of the experience of running has introduced me to the candidates that are running in other jurisdictions for delegate and also for commissioner. I think it's important that we all are linking up and becoming friendly and developing what could very well be very workable relationships. Part of what I'm interested in is piggybacking on the governor's efforts to bring small business bring business into Maryland. And I see that we should be attacking business on the same level as we are on the state level. That's all.
This one is for both candidates, and we'll start with Ms. Watts. The state has changed educational standards and goals without providing funding. What suggestions or solutions will you push for?
I have looked at the blueprint for future, and there are a couple of areas that I would change. One is the requirement that teachers get a master's degree within 10 years of their date of hire. I think that if they need to have their skill set updated, they should do it on a certificate basis instead of on a full degree. We need to think in terms of how to equalize our resources across all of the schools, and where we can cut, as far as I'm concerned, is this technology race that's going on. Give the kids books. They cost a lot less than computers, and they actually learn how to read.
Mr. Abney, I'm sorry.
I think when it comes to education, for one, I think we need to get back to a place where education was a collaborative event between the parents and the school. I think that right now, we're spending a lot of time, we're sending kids to school thinking that everything will be fixed automatically by the teachers, and that's not the case. So I think that's the first thing. And then as far as the budgeting and how that relates to what's going on, once again, I think it's something where we have to look at what is occurring and what makes sense, because a lot of education is built on something that was, let's say, popular 20, 30 years ago. I live with a 16-year-old right now that is doing math and homework that is very different than what was the process then. So we have to figure out a way to keep up with the times and not just keep doing something just for the sake of doing it.
Both candidates, and we'll start with Mr. Abney. EVs are heavy and damage roads more than gas vehicles, yet they pay no gas tax. Would you be in favor of further raising registration?
Well, we've actually already done that. It just so happens that I renewed my EV registration, I want to say in November, I think. And the rates went up dramatically because it's an EV. And I didn't like it, but at the same time, I also like the fact that I don't spend $600 in gas a month. So if you need to raise that rate up a little bit, I don't have an issue with it.
Ms. Watts?
There are other ways to capture revenue other than a gas tax, and registration obviously is one. But we could be using an excise tax in particular to EVs. That's spread out over the life of the vehicle, and that would obviously be the registration. There's a lot of places with change happening that things aren't being captured, and that is one, and public and private schools is another. But from what I can see as far as the question goes, done.
This question is for Ms. Watts. Mental health in the Thomas Johnson Bridge. How do you put up fencing on a failing bridge?
The bridge is currently under study and has been under study since it was built. It is not failing per se as much as it is starting to wear out. The Democrats in Congress, Mr. Van Hollen specifically, proposed a federal earmark of $5 million that did not make it into the final appropriation. So as far as whether or not it's failing, it obviously needs work of some type, but that's all.
Mr. Abney, want to answer that as well?
No, pass.
It's for both, and we'll start with Mr. Abney. How will you address making Maryland more small business friendly?
I think we need to find a way to incentivize small businesses. The same way that in Calvert County, they felt empowered to bring a data center that nobody wanted. They did that because they felt that they were getting some sort of tax break that was going to benefit the company. And I think we need to find a way to benefit small businesses here, because when you benefit a small business is going to live here, they're going to shop here, and they're going to do a lot of things here. We're giving tax breaks to companies like Amazon. When was the last time you guys saw Jeff Bezos in Southern Maryland?
Could you repeat the question, please?
How will you address making Maryland more small business friendly?
Maryland is small business friendly. What we need to think in terms of is how to attract small business to our region. And we can do that by advertising that we have lower costs in the urban centers and a much higher quality of life. The act of starting a business, just filing for an LLC is easy, but finding your niche is another matter. But what we need to make clear is that we have a very highly educated workforce. We have a great quality of life. We have the military and government installations with contracting around it. There are many opportunities for small business, and we really just need to look for them.
Will be the last question. We'll start with Ms. Watts. How do you see yourself serving differently than the incumbent?
Funny you should say that. I received his mailer today, and I was looking through it. He and I are on opposite ends of many parts of the political spectrum. I'm not going to say that he's MAGA, but he's MAGA, and I'm not. and I'm not. I'm much more into the environment and quality of life in this region, and that's why I make it home.
Mr. Abney?
Could you repeat the question for me one more time, please?
How do you see yourself serving differently than the incumbent?
I would say I would serve differently than the incumbent because I still live my life remembering what it was like to grow up in the projects in Brooklyn and live in a room with my older brother that was the size of most people's closets. So I don't look at things from the same lens. I see the everyday struggle that we're all dealing with, and that doesn't change for me based upon whatever I do. And I think that sometimes people have forgotten where they came from. And sometimes when you're in the public eye for too long, I think that you lose sight of what's important. When we look at basic things, there's a reason why air traffic controllers have a limit on how long they can be air traffic controllers. Why should the people that make the laws have a different case? So you can see what I did there.
Okay, we got one more question. We'll start with Mr. Abney. What would you do to further ensure fairness in our state's judicial system?
I think that starts with who you elect. You have to look at the people that you're putting on the bench that are making decisions. And if you look at someone that is making a decision that is not based on what is right, you can't really be surprised when the result that you get isn't right. You have to start from a correct place. Otherwise, you can't be confused about how you got where you are. Because if you keep doing the same thing and expecting a different result, that's the definition of insanity. At least the last time it was when I checked the dictionary.
The system as it currently exists penalizes the poor with a cash bond that is required in even minor crimes. The system itself, yes, you need to start with who's appointed to the bench, but the overall criminal justice system needs to be addressed as far as adequacy of public defenders and the cash bond requirements. As far as civil litigation goes, again, you need to think in terms of who you appoint to the bench. But that also encompasses what is an actionable, event. That's all.
Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and do closing statements, closing remarks, and we're gonna start that with Mr. Abney, since it's Watson. Give her opening statement first.
All right, well, first off, I just want to thank everyone for having me here. I really appreciate it. It's been a great experience and one that I didn't know I was looking forward to until I actually got here and found out I was really looking forward to it. So thank you guys for having me. That's the first thing. Before I forget, I just want to emphasize that I really need your vote and your support, and I'm asking for your vote and your support. I understand that regardless to what I've prayed about and thought about, I can't do anything alone. I need other people's help in order to make this happen. So that's the first thing that I would like to ask for. I also wanted to touch on something that is vital to me. One of my first serious jobs was working at a domestic violence shelter in the Bronx. And what that job taught me was empathy. To have empathy for others because you never know what a person is dealing with. That's something that's key to everything that I do. The other thing that's key to everything that I do is having integrity. I have integrity at all times, regardless to what's going on, because I answer to a higher power. And that's where my basis is from. And I want to focus on Southern Maryland because Southern Maryland is a magical place, and that's why I decided to be here. But I feel that we are at a crossroads where we have to figure out how do we stop our farmlands from becoming havens for data centers and dispensaries and vape shops. None of those things are magical, especially in my opinion. And I want to help the people that live here so that people are actually able to have a choice between affording their life or enjoying their life. And I thank you for your support.
Thank you, Ms. Watson.
Hi again. We talked about democracy, water, and data centers, but what about sustainable development? Sustainable development means conservation of our air, water, and land. Sustainable development means remembering that we live in a fragile rural coastal area that can't support heavy industry or too many more people. Our region is at a turning point. We can head towards industrial development or towards sustainable growth. Industrial projects bring temporary construction jobs and then most of the workers leave. The jobs that was promised from the LNG plant turned out to mean only a few technical maintenance positions. We've learned that construction booms are temporary. The hotels and offices that filled up are empty now. And from what I understand about data centers, maintenance employment is just that. By sustainable development, I mean helping local businesses grow into the steady employers we need. We need good jobs and better paths to them. Schools should prepare students for the future of work, including training for those who don't go to college. I support expanded community college programs. And in fact, recently saw a semi driving down the road that said College of Southern Maryland student driver. And I thought that was very cool. In fact, AI is going to change work and we need to be ready. Mark Twain said, if you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything. So remember this. This is a crucial time for our region. We need someone who will fight for our best interests. Sustainable development is key. No more industry that doesn't benefit local people. Grow local jobs. Protect our environment. I welcome your vote and your support, and thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you both very much. We go ahead and get the candidate for Commissioner District 1 to the table.
Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Alonzo Gaskin. I'm with the St. Mary's County NAACP, and we're honored to work again with the League of Women Voters providing this forum to the county. This forum is going to be for the County Commissioner District #1 here in St. Mary's County, and we have two candidates. We have Ms. Sheila Milburn and Ms. Morton Rice. Rice Morton, I'm sorry. Okay, so now, at this time, the ladies will have a 3-minute opening statement. And after the candidates, then we'll have 1 minute to respond to each question as we did in the earlier part of the program. So we will start with Ms. Milburn.
Hello, my name is Sheila Milburn, and I want to be your District 1 Commissioner candidate. First, I would like to thank the League of Women Voters, the NAACP 7025, and the library for this opportunity. And I also want to thank you for coming out to hear us and hear what we're about today. I'm a lifelong resident of the county with over 35 years of combined acquisition experience on that base over there. I have experience in general administration, contract administration, budget formulation and execution, operations research, and program management. All of that in a nutshell has allowed me to use my experience and my knowledge to lead a team that was able to test, qualify, and place in service the current fire retardant flight deck jerseys that are used by the Navy and the Marine Corps at this point. That was one of the highlights of my career. And prior to my retiring, my team was already working on upgrades to the material and the patterns for the flight suits worn by female pilots. All of which included and caused me to have to work with a myriad of people, whether it be engineers, test people, mathematicians, logisticians, all those came together under my leadership. So that's one of the attests that I am prepared for this position to lead the county. I also have 30 years behind me as a licensed realtor specializing in residential real estate, and I'm a 14-year colon cancer survivor. I'm out in the community, working on areas of period equity, homelessness, and food scarcity. And I feel that operating in the community and volunteering allows me to meet people at their level. So I have a better understanding of what their needs are, not just sitting up in the office, but actually getting out and being digging in the ground when it comes to the gardening and all of those things. So I'm out and about in the community. I envision a county that strategically manages growth, that maintains a balance between the technological advances and preserving our rural community. I also want to look at, I believe in a county that does not neglect the agriculture or the aquaculture, and where decisions are not based solely on finances, but it allows all the economic backgrounds a chance to advance and thrive. My job experience and skill set is already an asset in a smaller capacity in the community, but I'm asking that you would vote for me and allow me to bring these same skills and knowledge to your Board of County Commissioners. So again, I say thank you, and I ask for your vote.
Good evening, and thank you, the League of Women Voters in St. Mary's County and NAACP and the Lexington Park Library for hosting tonight's forum. My name is Wendy Smith Rice Morton, and I am honored to be candidate for the County Commissioner for District 1. I was born and raised in Scotland, Maryland, in a family deeply rooted in faith, service, and commitment. My parents, Guthrie and Pontina Smith, taught us the importance of helping others, working hard, and giving back. Growing up with 16 sisters and brothers taught me valuable lessons about teamwork, leadership, and cooperation and respect. My father, Guthrie Smith Sr., was a bus contractor, a Purple Heart veteran, and my brother, Tubby Smith, won the NCAA championship at University of Kentucky Wildcats in 1997. I attended Ridge Elementary School, George Washington Carver Middle School, Great Mills High School, and later earned my bachelor's degree in physical education, kindergarten through 12th grade at Bowie State University. I also pursued graduate studies in special ed education at Bowie State and business management at Strayer University. For more than 40 years, I have been dedicated my life to education, serving as a teacher, a substitute teacher, home and hospital teacher, coach, and mentor to countless young people. I also worked in St. Mary's County Recreation Parks for 25 years, helping create safe and positive opportunities for children and families. My commitment to service extends throughout our community. I have volunteered with the American Legion Auxiliary for more than 25 years. I served as election judge for over 2 decades and remained as an active member of St. Luke United Methodist Church throughout my life. These experiences have given me a deep understanding of the needs of our residents. I know the families want quality education, safe neighborhoods, and good paying jobs, affordable housing, responsible government, and protection of our beautiful natural resources. I understand the challenges facing our waterfront communities, including erosion and environmental concerns, and I believe we must work together to find practical solutions. As your county commissioner, I will focus on fiscal responsibilities, transparent government, strong schools, support our local businesses, and programs strengthening opportunities. I believe that leadership is about listening, serving, and bringing people together. District 1 deserves a commissioner who understands our history, value our people, and is a commitment to building a stronger future for generations. Thank you. Vote for Wendy Smith Rice Morton.
Thank you, ladies. Now, we will start the question. And we're going to start off with Ms. Morton. And the first question is, and the question will be for both ladies. First question is, what do you think is the biggest issue in District 1 and the biggest issue in the county? What is your idea to fix these issues?
I feel that the biggest issue in District 1 is to allow us to develop the land that we have in the southern area. Also to provide more physical and mental activities for our family members and people in the community. We need to also develop, okay, I'm sorry. I thought it was too close. To develop the, like we do water land, fishing, crabbing, all that. The fish went out about 3 years ago and they haven't come back, but we would like to maybe do a survey or go out and petition how we can help the watermen in our community.
Will you please repeat that?
No problem. What do you think is the biggest issue in District 1 and the biggest issue in the county? What is your idea to fix these issues?
I think the biggest issue for both District 1 and the county is housing. The lack thereof and the affordability aspect of it. I feel that in District 1, because of zoning, when they decide to fix the housing program, it's usually multi-unit, multi-level, packed into small spaces. And I feel that because everyone in here has a different income, we need to have housing at different levels. And everybody does not need to be in an apartment paying rent. There are some people that actually want to own homes. We need to make sure that there are homes at the price point, at different price points to meet the needs of our people. So I think a zoning, I wouldn't say rewrite, but just a zoning review would help fix that issue.
Second question, and we'll start with Mr. Milburn. How do you plan to work with neighboring counties to protect our water table and electricity costs due to data centers arriving in our area or any tax breaks?
I think we should start with something as simple as a meeting. I noticed that Calvin has done quite a few data center forums lately. I haven't been able to go, but I do try to read up on what's going on. But I think a task force with the 3 counties would be the best way to start, to see what's already been done, what needs to be done, what they found out. And I think we need to look broader once we come together at what's happening in the neighboring states and what some of the outcome has been of data centers that have already been there for a little while, because I'm very concerned about the long-term effects of data centers on our water, on our air, on all of our natural resources.
Can you repeat the question, please?
How do you plan to work with neighboring counties to protect our water table and electricity costs due to data centers arriving in our area or any tax breaks?
We need to work on how the data centers are going to provide for the community in St. Louis and Calvert. We need to do a survey, or we also need to investigate how the people are going to appreciate or not appreciate the positives or the negatives of where these data centers are placed and where we can work with them and how we can provide a safe environment and not use all that electricity and pay for it. It's going to fall back on our community, on us, and we need to try to work towards not getting that for this community in St. Louis County.
Our next question, Ms. Morton, we'll start with you. How will you address making Maryland/St. Mary's County more small business friendly?
I would like to make St. Mary's County small business friendly by going to the shops or just asking our families to see what is the process that we can do to get them into a building and help them provide a way to not have to pay all these high prices for rent. I've seen in the community in San Souci and St. Mary's City, we're here in the middle of Lexington Park. It's like they're trying to do it and then they can't do it. It's like somebody is not allowing them to provide places for them to go. I would like them to have an opportunity, and I wish and pray that we can do it for them.
I'm excited about the amount of small businesses that are coming into the county. I am excited to see more. I do believe that our local Chamber of Commerce and our Small Business Development Corporation does a great job of assisting and aiding developing businesses. I do believe we need to continue to tap these resources, but I think we also need to go out and, I don't want to say a survey, but we need to find out what else is needed here, what other things are needed, and incentivize, see what we can do to invite them in. Because I think, as was said earlier, small businesses, people ownership, home ownership, all those things will help our economy.
Melvin, the next question will start with you. What specific ideas do you have on how to assist the unhoused community in Southern Maryland?
I think first we need to change that stigma. Most people think affordable housing means Section 8 or subsidized. I think we need to get back to when we used to have starter homes. And I think we need to do some actual financial training and explain to people. Some people will say, well, I can rent because I can't buy. As a realtor, I hear this a lot, but I don't think people understand the benefits of home ownership and that there are some programs out there. So we need to match the need with what people can afford. We don't, building $400,000 and $500,000 homes for people with a $300,000 loan approval doesn't make sense. But neither does building multi-level, multi-unit rental units for those that desire home ownership. We've got to find a way to meet them in the middle.
Same question, Ms. Morton.
Yes, please.
Okay. What specific ideas do you have on how to assist the unhoused community in Southern Maryland?
As I've been riding on this bus for the last 6 months to a year, I've been asking that question to some of the members and residents of St. Louis County. And I was asking them, would you want to live and not be on the streets? Or would you want to be in a place that's safe for you? And they all said yes. But if they don't have a job, and if they don't have family that's willing to help them anymore, then how can we do that? So I've thought about it, and I would like, if we could, have like the first-time home buyers, where they have like come here to the library like we're doing today, and tell them, bring as many of them in here, and if they get SSI, or if they get any kind of income, then we can give them some budgeting courses, and we can provide them with somebody that can walk them through getting them a place to stay and how they can do it. Blue Oaks has been great in helping us put people in homes right here on Sugar Drive, and we have a lot of other things that's been helping out for the community.
This question to you, Ms. Morton. What is one specific example of an action that another municipality has implemented that you would intend to bring to the county/state if elected?
Well, my heart is with the children and with the seniors. I would like to bring in a couple activities that would help them to develop their skills and make them more into leadership roles and to be competitive. There's a thing over in Calvert County that's it's just a diamond-shaped building. It's outside. They would have a baseball where they can batting cage for the younger ones and the older ones. They have rock climbing, or there's other activities they could do. It wouldn't cost much, but it'd be some activity for the children to do. If we can get more pickleball areas for them, or if we can get, there's a problem with some people can pay and some people can't. So if we could still have organizations that help volunteer for us and they would donate, that would be good for our community.
Keeping the focus on, for me, want to keep the focus on housing. Years ago, Charles County had a program that when a developer developed a new community, whether it be townhouses or houses, they would run a lottery. And so if it were gonna be 100 townhouses, they would partner off, say, maybe 5% of that 100, and they would allow a lower interest rate, and people could apply that were maybe at a lower income level. They didn't push them all in one area, so it wasn't like a pocket of poverty in one neighborhood, but they would allow the developers to offer some things. If someone wanted upgrades, and then they had to pay out of pocket. I know someone that personally got a second job, so she could pay out of pocket for the upgrades that she wanted. But that was something that I would bring in to try to do with the housing.
Ms. Milburn, we'll start with you with the next question. What are your strategies to ensure there is affordable housing for our professionals in the, specifically for those in public sector, service, or healthcare?
So I'm going to ask you to start the first part one more time.
What are your strategies to ensure there is affordable housing for young professionals in the public sector, service, and healthcare?
For me, it goes a little bit beyond whether or not they're public sector. I believe it's depending on the income level, and I would feel that those personnel are probably at the mid-income level, maybe not low, and not quite high income. For that situation, I would look at the zoning laws. See where in the county that we've got some areas that are zoned that may take some single units, what we used to call back in the day starter homes, and work with maybe reduced interest rates for that area. They would still be paying, and find a way to work with maybe some state. I know a lot of things are being cut, but sometimes the state has incentives. I know I just had a loan class yesterday, and we're learning more things that even veterans can get as far as eligibility. So we'd have to, again, train, but I think the possibilities are there. We just have to tap into them.
Could you repeat the question, please?
What are your strategies to ensure there is affordable housing for our professionals especially for those in public sector, service, or healthcare?
I believe that we could bring, because of who we are in St. Louis County and that we care for our people, to increase the behavior issues. We could learn how to work with the county. We can learn how to work with the commuters that's coming in. The people that come into St. Louis take stuff out. But if we could just get them to stay in our communities, it would make them better. If we would walk with them, talk with them, and express to them that we need them to stay here to give us more income. Like our naval base right there. They come in, there's a whole lot of cars coming into St. Mary's, a whole lot of cars going out. They enjoy the stuff that we have here, but they say that they might not want to stay here. But I think that, like you're asking about small communities, businesses, if we can involve all that, then we can do it.
Question starting with you, Ms. Morton. The question reads, do you support fully funding the school system's annual budget request? Why or why not?
Yes, I do would like to fully fund the budget requests because our students deserve it, our teachers deserve it. You know, we have excellent parents in our community. And if you go to any of our public and private schools here in St. Mary's, they know a lot. I've been in schools for 40 years, and I believe that they can do anything if they're given a chance, they're given an opportunity to try. Average student, as well as the special ed student, as well as the advanced students, all need our assistance, and they can win this and be excellent as citizens and paying taxpayers for St. Louis County.
I agree the focus should be on our students, classroom size, teacher skills, and adequate supplies. I do believe that smarter students are confident students, and confident students excel at life. However, I don't think my position as a county commissioner is just to sign whatever comes across my desk. So I am in support of the Board of Education. I am in support of the budget, but I would definitely like to look at it first to see what it entails before. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to sign anything that comes across the desk, but I will support the Board of Education and the students in its endeavors.
Next question, we'll start with you, Ms. Miller. If you support increased school funding, what outcomes would you expect in return?
I'm gonna get myself in trouble. I expect students that can read and write. I expect students that have a healthy outlook on life. I expect students that are confident. I don't feel like we should push them through and graduate students that aren't ready. So if I'm supporting the budget, I expect it to be used for what they say they're going to use it for. And I do expect the better student to be the end result.
Ms. Moore, same question.
Okay, I expect the students to give us their all and try their best. Now, I've taught elementary and secondary, which is high school, and I know that these students can do a good job. They have been A students all the way up. I don't teach the middle school. I kind of miss them. But when they get to high school, they know and they excel here in St. Louis County. We have students that graduate top honors, and we have students that are lower. But they have learned to participate. They've learned that goals to be set. They've learned how to work together as a team, and they know that we will help them be successful in their communities when they leave or if they go to college. I just think that, yes, reading and writing, add, subtracting, and dividing is the most important, but there are teaching them different ways to do it. As long as we support our kids, it'll be good.
Ms. Moore, we'll start with you with the next question. Would you support keeping real estate taxes on seniors over 65 fixed at the current rates to help seniors stay in their homes?
Yes, I'm a senior now, and I would like to keep that as a tax. I mean, some days, like I've heard and I've seen that it's hard for people to even buy medicine now. It's, are you gonna let your grandchildren live with you to help you? Or, I think that we should keep the tax as it is, and hopefully we can survive without making an increase.
I totally agree. My mother is 100 and she's still paying taxes on certain things, not everything, but I do agree that people should be able to stay in their homes as long as they can. And if we can keep the taxes for the seniors where they are, I think that'll be a good thing.
We'll start with you, Ms. Gilbert. Next question. why do I have to pay a once a year fee, water pipes? And I have to pay for 20 years, and if I move, next person has to pay for 20 years. Let's see if I can get that a little better. Why do I have to pay once a year fee for water pipes and have to pay for 20 years? And if I move, the next person has to pay for 20 years.
Sometimes I ask myself the same question. I have a water bill that has other items attached to it, whereas I probably would be paying close to 20 or 30 a month because of the other items. My bill is close to $80 a month. So I can't answer the why, but I can definitely ask the question and see what we get from Metcom. I do know it includes the sewer restoration and other things within the county. So you're not just paying for what's at your house, but I do understand the question and the need to know when it's gonna stop, when those other additional costs are gonna stop, if ever.
I'm assuming that the increase in the rate of why we have to pay every year for the taxes is to help Metcom to provide us with the proper water supply and things that we need here in the Lexington Park area. Now we on wells, so we don't get that increase, thank goodness. But I don't know if if you have a low income, how you can afford to keep paying the additional amounts. I'm hoping that we can work along with them and revise the policies that they have. Thank you.
So again, Ms. Morton, and the question is, what is the most important job of being a county commissioner?
The most important job of a county commissioner is to serve the people of St. Mary's County, to read, to comprehend, and to understand what they need done, and to provide my ability or what my history has given me on all the activities that I've done to help St. Mary's County, the children, the needy, the American Legion, the veterans, the sports that I've helped with. I would hope that we could move St. Mary's County and make it a better place for all of us to live. That our children will be like we are, wanting to participate and do something to help us.
I think the most important job the most important job of the county commissioner is to represent the people. But it also is to balance what we hear behind the scenes when we make our decisions, to listen to the people, to be transparent, and to do our best to make sure that the decisions we make are reflective of what the majority wants within the county.
Next question, we'll start with you, Ms. Milton. For years now, we've had 5 county commissioners who are all men, all white. How would your perspective as a woman or as an African American change the perspectives or policies in our county? One more time. For years now, We have had 5 commissioners who are all white men and who are all men and all white. How would your perspective as a woman or as an African American change the perspectives and or policies in our county?
I think my addition to the board would bring in not just the diversity of seeing an African-American woman sitting there, but would bring in the diversity of having a woman's perspective on some things. Maybe a little bit more compassionate, from a different time and place, how I grew up, how it was different, the people I interact with, making sure that another side of the community, be it female, be it African-American, being it from the county, all those things would add to a different perspective, would bring more diversity, I think, to the decision-making process, to the thought process, and ensuring that more voices are heard.
Perspective of a Black female on the board make it dynamic. It would give us a universal attitude of bringing unity to the board. It would bring us into 21st century. It would bring us into knowing that we are available and we are willing to help in any aspect. As a female, we would be there with, she said, compassion, vulnerability, and knowing that everything would be all right if we put our best foot forward. If we can work hard to make a difference in our children's lives, the seniors' lives, the veterans' lives, and the community, it would be a wonderful thing. And I love St. Mary's County. So I know that I could help and be a positive role model for the children and for my voice would be heard as county commissioner.
Next question, Ms. Wharton. Describe how you plan to collaborate with commissioners, colleagues, and the state delegates, ensuring healthy communication and effectiveness.
Working towards accountability, learning in advance, taking criticism, trying to talk to people, get ideas, working on stuff in advance, being on time, doing it in a timely fashion, making sure that I'm available for change. And if there's anything that we need as a county, as well as other counties, we can work towards it for a common goal, that we would want to keep our water lands safe. Like we talked about the bridge, making sure that there are things that as the 2 counties or 3 counties, our tri-county area, make it so that we can survive together and prosper.
Could you please repeat the question?
Describe how you plan to collaborate with commissioner colleagues and the state delegates, ensuring healthy communication and effectiveness.
As a commissioner, I would collaborate simply by talking, by keeping an open mind, understanding that my perspective or my thought process is not always going to be exactly right, being welcomed to talk about new ways to see things, new ways to look at things, to meet, not just at the commissioners' meetings, but just to make sure we stay in touch. Stay in touch with those state delegates, those district delegation, making sure they understand what we need in St. Mary's and present a united front where one is needed so that we can bring what we need back here in the county. There's resources, the understanding, any type of laws that would support us. We need to work together to get that done.
Next question, we'll start with you, Ms. Miller. How do you see yourself serving differently than the incumbent?
in all honesty, the fact that I am different is just gonna be what starts that difference, how I look at things, where I go, where I'm probably invited, where I may not be invited, may not be welcome. All those things are gonna depend on the community, who has events, who reaches out, who I reach out to, who's receptive. So I just would do my best in any endeavor and try to be everywhere that I could be when I'm needed there, and to make sure I represent the people. And I don't know that, maybe I shouldn't say this, I don't know that's totally different from what the incumbent does, but I would just bring a fresh perspective on some of the things that have been done for a while.
Can you repeat that, please?
Okay. How do you see yourself serving differently than the incumbent?
I feel that I would do different than incumbent, be to provide safe environment, communicate, walk with the people if needed. I'm hoping that, as well as my incumbent, that we can continue to support the citizens and the people of St. Mary's County. That is my main priority, and that I will be representing them to the fullest with their ideas, with their forthcomings, with anything that we need to take care of. I would hope that we can work together to accomplish that.
Next question, start with you, Ms. Morton. When making the county budget, what two departments or projects would you prioritize funding for? And what areas are you willing to cut spending in to make that happen? I'll read it again. When making the county budget, what two departments or projects would you prioritize funding for? And what areas are you willing to cut spending in to make that happen?
I would hope that we would see and continue to prioritize our children. I know if the education department comes up with Board of Education with other sources that they need funded, then we will be able to look into it. Maybe not drop it, but maybe get grants from the State Department or from the federal government. Maybe we can work towards, financing other ways of, without cutting the budget. But if possible, I guess it would be I know we need ambulances, so we need fire trucks. It's a very hard decision right now to make for me. If it's presented, I would hope that I could come up with the right answer.
I would prioritize education. And my second priority area would probably be looking at the actual infrastructure. Because I know there are some areas in the county where that probably needs to be improved. I don't know right now, I can't say anything I would actually cut, but I would look at the budget. Maybe there are some areas where money's been laying in a line item for a couple of years, and if we haven't used it yet, maybe we can move that to something else and revisit that item at a later date. Maybe forecast, maybe plan something, grants, some other things. So I would definitely review the budget and see where maybe some things are maybe haven't spent, that have been laying and holding a spot for a while.
Ms. Melvin, the next question you start off with. Besides the jobs attributed to the base, many are minimum wage, housing, waitlisted, and Section 8 options are available. What options do you propose?
One more time, please.
Besides the jobs attributed to the base, many are minimum wage housing, waitlisted, and Section 8 options are available. What options do you propose?
Well, first of all, I know that the base is one of our largest, employers, but I don't think we need to, skip on, St. Mary's College, the Seafarers Union, some of the other places that, that employ a lot of people or bring a lot of people in here. As far as I said earlier, when it comes to housing, Section 8 is not the only answer. And we need to continue to look in other ways to find housing that don't just mean subsidized housing.
We could develop sustainable housing strategies and balance affordability, environment, and stewardship and smart growth. We could develop housing near existing infrastructure and employment centers. We could encourage mixed income in neighborhoods. We could revitalize older homes rather than relying solely on the new constructions. We can improve the energy efficiency of the lower utility bills. So what I'm saying is that if you have an older home and you have, we can revitalize that and work towards getting it affordable for younger parents or people in the community. That would be one way. I know it would be hard to convince the older parents, adults, seniors, elderly, to give up their home because they work so hard for it. Thank you.
Okay, we'll start with you, Ms. Morton. What are your ideas to improve safety on our roads?
Improve safety on our roads. I know they have a senior class that you can take, and they probably have a younger class that you can take. We have the shoulders where they can ride the bicycles. I just feel that, you know, when we have new people coming in the community and older, it's hard to, you know, when you're coming from somewhere else and you think that it's supposed to speed. But St. Mary's County is different. You need to drive, road rage, maybe some more classes. You know, when we took it 40 years ago, some of the rules have changed. And maybe we can have motor vehicle. We put something out there where they can just do it online, get a certificate. That would motivate us to look out for the other driver and protect ourselves.
I see a couple levels here, but I would say, the first thing I would support is putting driver's education back in the school. When it was a longer time, when it was a graded event, when you had to do a test and had to pass, it seems like more care was given to teaching. When you can go to a training center and get a couple road hours and get your license, and then you start passing on the right or left, right, median strip, wherever you can go because you feel like you need to get there before someone else, that doesn't work. The other thing I've noticed is that sometimes, even me, experienced driver, there are certain places where the landscaping is horrible. When you go to turn out of a turn or something, you have to almost have your car all the way in the street before you can make a turn. And I also believe we need to have more police officers on the road when we can.
Next question, we'll start with you, Ms. Melvin. In St. Mary's County, You are allowed to vote for a commissioner no matter where you live in the county. Do you agree with this?
See, I honestly feel that you should be able to vote for the person that represents your district. I do understand that once I take, I'm gonna say it like this, once I take my seat on the board, I will represent the whole county, but I do feel that we should be able to vote for the people that are going to represent our district specifically.
Repeat that, please.
Yes. In St. Mary's County, you are allowed to vote for a commissioner no matter where you live in the county. Do you agree with this?
When I first started, I didn't agree with it, but the more and more out here doing this, running for county commissioner, I'm kind of like, I feel that the people do need to know who I am and what I'm standing for. It's hard to get all the way around St. Mary's County because it's so far you have to drive and so far you have to go. Taking transit, getting rides, but if you want to do something and you really want to help your community and you want to provide for your family and you want your little nieces and nephews to have a better place, then it'll be all right. You know, we work towards whatever it is that we need to accomplish.
Okay. Ms. Morton, let's start with you. Describe your ideal relationship with other Southern Maryland commissioners and delegates with regard to funding policy, etc. How would you work together to benefit all communities?
I would work together to benefit all communities on the county commissioner board. Standing up for my constituents in District 1, I would go and go beyond and above for them if need be. I would talk with them if we have a situation like in my family, we have conflict and we talk and we smile and we laugh and we do all that. And I think that I can bring that to the board and have them know that we can invite disagreement. But when you leave, I still like you. No, I am for working hard and getting along. And I think that we can do that in the forums and working together with the other county commissioners.
As I said earlier, I think we need to keep an open mind and understand that each of us are not always going to agree, but we still need to respect the opinions of others. So I would say open and honest communication, one where we are able to trust and support each other. And when everyone may not agree, but at the same time, they respect each other enough to be heard and to listen and to work together to arrive at something that's better for the residents.
Over to the next question. We'll start with you. Commissioner Oster is the only commissioner who has held town hall meetings. Commissioners hold public forums that are very one way and allow only 3 minutes. What would you do to ensure that constituents are heard and that the dialogue is open?
I would continue with the open forums. But it's not just an open forum. I would attempt to include some type of information, maybe a quick update of what the commissioners are doing. But I definitely feel like we should continue with the open forums that Commissioner Ostro has been holding at the suggestion of the 2022 Democratic Party candidates. But I think it's a good thing that he holds them. I think we need to continue that. I think we need to put in place some other things so that not just coming to the board where we say things, and after we leave, we get a letter that says, thank you for coming, but not a letter that actually answers or addresses the questions that we posed or the comments that we made at the event. So I would expand on that.
I believe that the town halls are good. 3 minutes may not be enough for somebody to speak on. I guess if there is a lot of people in the room, if we want to get the opinion of a lot of people, we might have to have that. But there could be some discussion afterwards, small groups, or have another time frame, like she said, to answer those questions and really put them out there, not only for the people that came to that meeting, but to St. Mary's County. You know, to us, we are interested in what's going on. We would like to promote and investigate and be interested in what our county commissions are doing. If we find that it's beneficial for us, advantageous for us to get along or work with them or to promote what it is, then we can do it. There's many ways that we can find to do that.
This is our last question, ladies. And we'll start with you this morning. Many critical services in St. Mary's County are provided by faith institutions and nonprofits, not by county government. Do you think county government should provide any new services or share the county's or shared the county offer great, or should the county offer greater support to churches and organizations? More time. Many critical services in St. Mary's County are provided by faith institutions and nonprofits, not by county government. Do you think the county government should provide any new services or share the county, should the county offer greater support for churches and organizations?
I've been on the recipient side of receiving and donating and helping. I believe that the county government, it's my opinion, could help out a little bit more. If we have an overage or surplus, then why can't they help faith-based organizations that are donating food to the community? Our American Legion, we donate every quarter, we donate something to St. Mary's County, to caring, to hospice, to food banks. And if the government is not helping, are they there? I mean, we need to support our people in St. Mary's County. And I really, really appreciate all of the organizations and volunteers that help in St. Mary's County. I've been to the soup kitchens, I've been on the bus, I've traveled St. Mary's County for the last year and a half, and we have some wonderful people here in St. Mary's County that are helping homes and everybody.
I think it would be, I'm not sure, I'm thinking it might be a little taxing for the actual Board of County Commissioners to get up and get out all the time, but I absolutely think they should support these faith-based organizations, whether it be by funding, whether it be by grants, some type of supplement, but I do believe that the county commissioners, then the county organizations should be as supportive as possible with the, especially when it comes to mental health, food scarcity. I said before, I like that the county commissioners do the twice-a-year food giveaways. They do get out in the county when they can, but I think if we've got faith-based organizations that are willing to do the work, we should be able to find a way to support them and to help them.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was our last question. We want to thank each and every one of you for being here. Now, we will have our summation by our candidates, each having 2 minutes.
Tonight, you've heard my background, my experience, and my vision for District 1. At its heart, this campaign is about people. It's about making sure every resident feels heard, respected, and represented. I believe our children deserve every opportunity to succeed through strong schools, youth programs, athletics, arts, mentorship, and safe places to learn and grow. I also believe that our seniors deserve dignity, support, and access to services that need to remain active and encourage members in our community. I am committed to protecting our natural resources, supporting local businesses, strengthening our economy, and ensuring taxpayer dollars are spent wisely and responsibly. Throughout my life, whether an educator, coach, volunteer, church member, election judge, or community advocate, I've always believed the service comes first. The same commitment will guide me as your county commissioner. District 1 has a proud history built on faith, family, and hard work in the community. Together we can preserve these values while creating new opportunities for further generations. I respectfully ask for your prayers, your support, your vote for Wendy Smith Rice Morton, County Commissioner, District 1. Thank you, God bless. Facebook, Wendy Smith Rice Morton for County Commissioner.
Again, I want to start by saying thank you for this opportunity to get my priorities and what I'd like to do for the county and within the county out there. As your county commissioner, I would be committed to representing the residents of this county with accountability, strength, and integrity. I believe that helping one facet of the community should not totally negate the other. I will work in collaboration with the other commissioners, businesses, and community members to arrive at solutions and amenities for the greater good. Again, my job experience and skill set is already an asset in the smaller capacity as a community volunteer, but I ask that you vote for me and allow me to bring these same skills and knowledge to the Board of County Commissioners. Again, I say thank you. And my little tag is a vote for Sheila is a vote for a better St. Mary's County. So again, I thank you for this opportunity. And if you want to hear more about me, I've got some cards out front and you can actually scan my QR code to go to my website and learn about the things that are important to me. And I hope these are the same things that are important to you. Again, that I ask that you would vote, support, share, and donate. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and especially to you ladies for being here this afternoon at the forum. And a big thank you to the Lexington Park Library. We've been doing this for a number of years here now, and they've always been very supportive of the efforts of the community. And we really want to thank Amy, sitting right there, for the organizational skills that she's put into this library. Because this is the community hub. There's nothing else in St. Mary's County that works for the community as much as this library.
Yes.
Now that you're the best kind of voters, the educated voter, be certain to vote either during the early voting by mail or on June 23rd. But vote.
Yes.
Gotta vote. We have one more candidate forum that's going to be tomorrow evening, June the 4th, and we will have the candidates for the following Republican primaries: House of Delegates, District 29C, County Commissioner President, County Commissioners District 2, and County Commissioner District 4. And we certainly hope to see each and every one of you back here tomorrow. And drive home safely. And Sheriff called back there, and he said, this man on the road. Want you all to get home safely and then return to us. Have a good evening.
My birthday.